Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Tales from the Albright. We are still here with Brianna and still discussing Dracula. Last episode, we went over the history of vampires and the characters in Dracula. And today we're going through the plot of Dracula. And my name is Alyssa. I work in reference. I feel like I haven't introduced myself in a while on these.
No, you're a celebrity. We know who you
I
are.
don't want to be a celebrity. Okay, so about the book. What did you know about Dracula before reading?
Honestly, I knew almost nothing about the plot. I knew so little about it other than, Transylvania and that he goes there. Honestly, I thought the whole plot takes place in Transylvania. I did not know that they go to England for the plot. And I didn't really know much about our characters. So I got to go into this pretty blind and be entertained and surprised by where it went.
I knew of Dracula. I had watched some of the television shows, which all the television shows have Mina falling in love with Dracula or Mina and Lucy as an actual couple. And so I was I don't know how this plays out back in the day when this was written. So once I start reading it, I'm like, oh no, it's actually good and all this stuff, and it's very just tragic.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jonathan is newly a lawyer, and he gets tasked with going to visit Dracula to try and sell him land and a house.
Funny. Oh my gosh.
Once all of the townspeople start warning him, do not go there, and praying for him and giving him rosaries, would you have still gone?
No, I can't. See, here's the problem. I want to say no because that's terrifying, but I'm also a chronic people pleaser. So if I were him and I were I'm a young lawyer and I got to go back to my boss and be like, oh, look, what did I think I would probably just be Psh, it's fine, the follow through. I'd like to think I wouldn't have, but I know myself enough to know I would have.
Yeah, because it's also new job, trying to prove yourself.
Yes.
People are counting on him. He's already there.
Yep.
And I just enjoy how he's just kind of well, this is weird, but okay, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he talks about Paprika Hendel.
Yep. He just likes food.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, I need to get that for Mina so she can cook it when we're home.
He's just adorable. Absolutely adorable.
Because Jonathan Harker loves his wife.
Loves his wife. That's our essential takeaway.
Yeah. So then we get to the actual castle, and Dracula is running the entire castle by himself.
Super sketchy.
He's dressing up in costumes and is just zooming around the place, trying to cook, driving the carriage.
Yep. Again, so red flag number 2, 3, 4. A lot of red flags here so far. Also very weird. Yeah.
Yes. And then I feel like we need to talk about Jonathan's time at the castle, and Dracula's mannerisms of the castle. Yeah. So poor Jonathan's just trying to shave, have some sense of normalcy while he's locked in the castle. And Dracula storms in and throws the mirror out the window.
Yeah. And he's just no. What did he say? He's you can't have any mirrors whatsoever. And Jonathan was just but I need to shave my face. Or can't I?
Yeah.
What? And I felt bad for him at that moment because you would think, because doesn't he know? He's oh, and it's weird. I didn't see him coming behind me in the mirror. And you're that's a little sketchy.
Yeah. Because the thing is, we're here in 2024. We know vampire lore. We know vampire myths. No one really knows the vampire lore and myths because Dracula is the one that said it.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
As Dracula was being written, people didn't know where it was going.
Yeah, they were oh, that's weird. He didn't see him. Is he invisible? I don't know.
Oh, I guess he just wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, what's happening here?
And then one night, Johnson's there and just sees Dracula crawling down a wall. Lizard fashion.
Like a lizard. I love that. That's my favorite takeaway. Is just the image of him hanging from the side of the castle as a lizard. That is my favorite image of this portion of the book, at least. Yeah. Unsettling.
Yeah.
Unsettling.
And, like, I feel like you can see it going to be a train wreck.
Yep.
And you just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, where's the train's gonna fall?
Yeah.
Where's it gonna wreck?
Because Jonathan does try to escape
Mm-hmm.
and does try to, like, search out the place.
Yes.
But it fails.
I like when he's like, Dracula's like, don't take a nap in here. Don't stay in here alone. And he goes, screw that. I want to take a nap in here. You can't tell me what to do. And then he wakes up to like 3 vampire women over him. And you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Maybe don't do things like that.
So Jonathan does manage to escape. Tries to kill Dracula at one point. Couldn't follow through because Dracula, apparently, vampires sleep with their eyes open in Bram Stoker's Dracula. And so he looks into his face and can't chop off his head. So then he figures out another way to escape. But Dracula's also, like, really mean the entire time, like, gaslighting him, being like, oh, you could leave at any time, but can't guarantee the wolves won't rip you to shreds.
My favorite was before he leaves when Dracula goes, hey, how about you write 3 letters for me? You're going to write one that says, hey, Mina, honey, I'm leaving now. And then one that says, hey, look, I'm in town, I'm on my way. And then another one that says, I'll be home in about a week. And I'm just going to take those if you don't mind. And you're just like,
And you're not going to be leaving.
yeah. And that's when he starts writing his letters where he's like, this is suspicious. Why is he having me write letters that I'm leaving when I'm not? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a little I get he didn't see some of it coming, but a little that was suspicious.
And Jonathan knows it's suspicious.
Yes. He's aware at least. But yeah, he does get away.
Yeah. And while all of this is happening, Mina and Lucy are just having the best time.
Yeah, they're literally just gossiping about all of the 3 men that are in love with Lucy.
Yep.
It's adorable. And they're like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you. It's going to be the best day of my life when I see you again. They're like true, like, schoolgirl best friends.
But there is an issue.
Yeah.
Lucy is sleepwalking.
Yeah, that is a concern. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we get to the ship of the Demeter.
That was
Which-
unsettling.
Very much so. So that is part of it is like, that's one of my favorite sections of the book.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you do the Dracula daily, it's each day you just get one bit and one bit and one
yeah.
bit. Like, slowly the crew is just being picked off by Dracula, who has shipped himself to England at this point. Because he is genuinely interested in buying that house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he wants that house.
Yeah.
He's going to pimp that house into a vampire castle.
So then the ship comes into shore. People are like, that ship looks like it's messed up. Like, what's going on? It's not steering. Because Dracula cannot drive a boat, and he's killed everyone that can.
Yep. Mm-hmm. But the freaky part is the image of him, like, with the dead body of the captain strapped to the steering wheel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's so unsettling.
Yeah. So then, once Dracula's on land, things take a turn for Lucy. Lucy starts being drained of blood. And then...
They keep refilling it, too. They're like, oh, yeah. It's like, I gave Alyssa half of my blood. And then the next day, it's like, well, someone else has got to give Alyssa more. It's all gone again. Like, what?
And at this time, like, they knew how to do blood transfusions, but they didn't understand blood typing.
I was about to ask about that. That's concerning.
So they didn't know. So it feels kind of like Bram is just like, it's fine.
Yeah, like...
It's all compatible. It's fine.
Yeah, we can't double check
We
on
can
that.
just believe that Lucy was, like, the universal acceptor blood type.
Receiver, yeah. She was an AB.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's unsettling. But also, what I'm confused about is, I understand this part, but I'm also like, why was she already sleepwalking before Dracula came to England?
I don't know.
He's just in her mind somehow?
Yeah.
This one random girl in England?
I guess. I don't know. She could have also just been, like, generally sleepwalking.
Interesting. And that's why he picked her. He was like, look at that girl wandering around the grounds. I like that one.
It wasn't it that, like, he found her, like, on the cliffside?
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
See, that's where it got blurry for me.
Yeah, I think so. And then Van Helsing's like, you need to keep all of these garlic flowers around, everything. Lucy's mom takes them away.
Yeah, that was hysterical. Where she was like, I walked in and the windows were all shut. And it was garlicky, and I was like, no. So I opened the windows and I got rid of the garlic. It was so funny. Poor Lucy's mom. But then she has an unfortunate turn.
She dies.
Yeah.
And then Lucy dies.
Yeah, that makes me sad.
And then Lucy becomes the Blue Fur Lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was unsettling because it's like she dies with them in the room with her. And she's like, Arthur, come give me a kiss.
Yeah.
And then he's like, don't you dare do that. And then he's like, no, 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 no. And then don't they let him kiss her on the forehead or something?
Yeah.
That's just disturbing.
Yeah.
And then she becomes the Blueford lady.
Yeah. And what I find tragic is that during all this, Mina gets called away because Jonathan reappears in a hospital that's run by nuns.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, we don't know what he's talking about. Because Jonathan's traumatized.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And no one believes the story about Dracula.
Yep.
Which is all true.
Yep.
So then Mina goes off, goes to get him. They get married. Yes. Then they come back, and they don't get back until like the day after Lucy dies.
That's so sad.
It was so sad.
Oh. Yeah, that breaks my heart for Mina.
So then they have to go kill Vampire Lucy. And Arthur kills Vampire Lucy, and it's very sad.
Yeah, that is. But this is also their like training, learning experience of how to kill vampires.
Yeah.
So it's like plot relevant. We need to figure out how to kill Dracula before we can kill Dracula.
So then everyone's very heartbroken about Lucy, but they band together and they're like, we need to kill Dracula. Mm-hmm. But Van Helsing still kind of isn't like, he's like, I've heard rumors of this man who's not a man and things happen. And then like, you're just like, just tell them that it's a vampire.
Yes.
Like, get on with Van Helsing.
Yeah. It's like he's doing too much build-up to be like, you gotta believe me. I know things.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what those things are. Like, he spends way too long in that.
Yes. So they start making a plan. Mm-hmm. And then Mina starts being attacked by Dracula.
Yes. That made me nervous because I was like, oh no, please tell me Mina doesn't become a vampire. This is not good. We can't have Angel Mina become a vampire.
The thing that I think stands out to me is that when Dracula attacks Mina, Jonathan is there dead asleep in a trance. And then he feels awful after. Oh, because it's like horrible.
Like, poor wife. He's like, I escaped him, and then he came and he went, hey, hey, got your wife.
Yeah, and they're just walking around, because in Dracula, vampires can go out in the sun.
Yes. And
they're just walking around. Jonathan sees Dracula on the street, dressed up in some ridiculous costume. And
not flattering.
No.
As they said.
Like, and takes a full-blown panic attack. Mina's like, what is going on here? Yeah. Like, so then they try to compile everything together. But it's like Dracula was like, that one man, I'm going to ruin his entire life. I'm going to kill his friends. I'm going to kill his wife. I'm going to kill him. Like,
it's quite the trajectory we got going on here. A lot of murder.
Like, oh, that poor dude.
Yeah, that's not good for poor Jonathan.
No. Then he takes a turn and starts sharpening a knife that he carries around with him all the time. It's not good. And then they try to test to see if Mina's becoming a vampire.
Right.
And another image that I have like in my brain from this book is when Van Helsing is like, we'll just put a communion wafer on her forehead and see what happens.
Picture like the gentle placing and then
yeah.
Yes.
And then it burns her.
Yep.
And it's
her
there
mark.
Forever.
Yeah, her mark from the vampire.
And during all of this, Jonathan is just like, you know what? Because he loves his wife. Mm-hmm. He's just like, if Mina's becoming a vampire, I'll become a vampire too. I don't care.
Yeah. He is a supportive husband in that way. Yeah. Very much a gooseling who follows along, though, and is like, you jump off a cliff and I'll jump with you. Poor Jonathan.
And then they're having a meeting. Yes. Quincy's outside. He's a cowboy from America in Texas, remember?
I love him.
All of a sudden, bullets start flying into the room through a window, and everyone's like, what is happening? Everyone's terrified. It's Quincy trying to shoot Bat Dracula.
Going for it. See, he is a real hero. Taking one for the team. Just shooting into the air and potentially killing some of his friends instead.
Oh, gosh.
That was so funny. I do feel like a lot of places people have commented in the Dracula Daily Book where it's like, this was a great opportunity for some comedy. Like some slapstick comedy, because it feels already like comedy.
Yep. I also think it's an interesting perspective of how, well, Bram Stoker was Irish. Mm-hmm. So how, like, the Irish view Americans.
Yep.
So, social commentary is also here in Dracula.
Yep.
So then the group finds where Dracula's staying in the basement of the house. And they go and try to attack Dracula. It doesn't go well. But Dracula leaves. He's like, I'm just going to go home.
He gives up on his Conquer England plan.
He didn't really try.
No, he didn't try very hard at all. He went for 2, and he succeeded kind of on the first one.
Yeah.
And then the second one, he was like, wow, that girl's got way too many fans. I can't do this.
Yep. Like, I feel like he didn't even give it an honest try. Like, he wasn't, like, going after anyone else. He was just like, I want to get that one dude that escaped.
Yes.
And I want to ruin his life. And then he was like, oh, well, they fought back. I'm leaving now.
Mm-hmm. Yep, literally. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just gets on his old boat, sails away.
Yeah. So what is the premise then? Because we're waiting for Mina to become a vampire.
Yeah.
But Lucy actually did. Is it assumed that it's just once it's in their system long enough, they just become a vampire? Or is there... I don't feel like they established what the turning point is.
I think it's death is the turning point.
So you know what this reminds me of is Vampire Diaries. Because that's how the Vampire Diaries work, is that you have to have vampire blood in your system and then die. And then when you, like, revive yourself, you drink human blood and you become a vampire. So it's, like, kind of similar.
I think...
That checks out. Because I was thinking that, like, Lucy dies and then once they bury it, like, we see her come back. Okay. So let's just hope Mina doesn't die, evidently.
Yeah.
That's the goal here.
Yes.
So, which is why we take her on a crazy adventure to kill Dracula.
Yeah. Also, Mina now has, like, a weird connection with Dracula where she can psychically tell where he is when she's asleep.
That's so wild.
And, like, then Van Helsing hypnotizes her.
Yes.
And it's like, what is it? And she's like, I just hear waves.
Yeah, it's literally just dark water for days on end, weeks on end.
Because Dracula is in a boat again.
Yes, he's in a boat. Which is just so comical because it's literally just, I just picture every time it would come up like that where they're just like, let's check in again. Still on a boat.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I picture just this box with Dracula in it, just floating on the ocean. That's just it. That's it.
So then everyone goes on a wild journey. So they take trains and boats and everything else. Because Dracula obviously knows the way back to his house. But Jonathan also knows the way back to his house.
True. He's like, hey, I've been there. I know where I'm going.
So they go on this wild journey, but then they split up.
Yeah, that was weird.
And it's Van Helsing and Mina and everyone else.
Feels very Scooby-Doo gang.
It does.
Yeah, like
trying to like meet him at a turning point.
Yeah.
I just remember I don't really remember like the Jonathan, Arthur, Seward, that section.
Nope.
But I remember Mina and Van Helsing.
Yes, me too.
Vividly, because he's just like, she's not doing well.
No, I distinctly remember when they're like at the campsite.
Yeah.
And she like wanders away and comes back and he's like, where were you? And she goes, it's fine. And you're like, oh, was she just eating people? What was she doing?
And you never find out what she was doing.
Nope, we never
So then he starts crushing up Eucharist and communion wafers.
Debatable.
No, at that point he does, because he says
are you sure?
Yeah. I think when he's like laying them out on Lucy's coffin, it's debatable.
Okay, all right.
But he does say crushed wafers when he makes the circle around.
Okay, see, that checks out. I just picture whenever they do the wafer thing that he's just individually setting down all these little circle wafers, you know? I just picture it. I think it's a fun image. But I guess not. All right, crushed wafers.
And then we get to the final battle between everyone and Dracula.
Which is honestly, like, to me, it's, I don't want to say anticlimactic, but all of the people transporting him do a better job of fighting him. It's not like Dracula himself really does anything.
He doesn't. Because Dracula doesn't do anything. He's a loser.
Yeah, he, like, has no fight back. He does have one really good comeback towards the end there where he's like, I'm here to steal all your women. Yeah. And you're like, oh, gay. And that's like the best line.
Anytime anyone does anything that like encroaches on him or like pushes back, he's like, "Oh, all right, I'm gonna go home. Goodbye."
Yeah.
Like it's stupid.
Yes.
I hate Dracula.
Yeah, that's valid.
um,
That's valid. He is.
If
he
you
is
didn't
just
get
kinda
that
lame.
sense.
Yeah, that's just kind of lame because he really doesn't.
Yeah.
Because is he even the one that kills Quincy, or is it one of the guys from the caravan?
I think it's one of the guys from the caravan because Quincy accidentally gets stabbed during the
That's
fight,
it. Yeah.
and then Jonathan's the one that kills Dracula.
Right. Which kind of had to be, right?
Yeah,
It had to be Jonathan, or else that poor boy might never get rest again.
Yeah, Jonathan deserved to kill Dracula.
Yes, he did.
And then Quincy dies.
Mm-hmm.
It's very tragic.
Yeah, but it's cute when they do the thing at the end. I saw someone commented that it's like the Harry Potter thing.
Yep.
Where it's like they name their kid after Dumbledore and Snape, and it's like, we're going to name our child after Quincy Morris.
Well, at that point, you have to name your child after Quincy Morris.
Yes, because he did die to
Morris,
save you.
Yes,
Yeah.
he literally died to save Mina.
After he failed to marry her best friend.
Yeah.
He had no commitments here. Literally
But
none.
you know, if they had a daughter, they would have named the daughter Lucy.
That's true. Maybe they will have a daughter named Lucy.
It's true. You don't know. Yeah, I found the epilogue cute.
Yeah, it was cute in that way. That all of the epilogues always do the cute happy ending.
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
And I feel like they deserve their happy ending because they actually fought for their happy ending.
They did.
Like, they literally went and killed the vampire.
True. They worked hard for that.
Yeah, so that's essentially all of Dracula.
That's the plot.
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's great. It's so much better than you're expecting for like classic.
Yes. Yeah. It is fun and goofy in that way that we can judge books written at that time and be like, what is happening here? Why did you do that? Like, it's just so funny. And Bram Stoker's way of doing it, I think, is interesting. I think I know it's hard to access classics, like, in terms of the language sometimes. But I will say that's why I did the audiobook. And the audiobook was good in that way because listening to it helped a little bit. So that I didn't feel bogged down trying to sit and read through it if I was struggling. Or Dracula Daily was great because it gives you like a little brief summary of what comes in each entry, and then it gives you like the commentary and photos that people have made and things like that.
Yeah, and it makes it so much more accessible.
Oh yeah. Or you can sign up for the emails from Dracula Daily and just read it day by day in your email.
And once you're signed up for those, you're signed up for them for life until you unsubscribe.
Yep.
So
literally.
I'm still getting them now. It's the 3rd year of it, I think.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
cool COVID projects, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoy Dracula. I've learned I hate Dracula, the character.
Yes.
But Dracula the character, like all these characters, are out of copyright.
Yes, you're right.
So I feel like they should be put in more things.
That is a good point.
That's why you had like Scooby-Doo versus Dracula.
Yes. And like that's why Dracula Daily is even possible.
Yeah.
Which is super cool. And I will say that edition is very fun. We have print editions of Dracula at the library. Plus we have a manga version of Dracula. Yep. Have you seen that? It's very interesting. It does make him look cooler, I think, in the illustrations than he actually is. And I don't think he wears a lizard suit at any point, but I digress.
I don't think he wore a lizard suit in real Dracula.
But if you had the opportunity, wouldn't you do that?
You know, Dracula would. He would.
He wore that straw hat that they said explicitly was not flattering on him.
He wore the fake beard and top hat to be the coachman taking Jonathan to his home.
Yes, he did. That's true. And his disguise in England. Like, he wears weird fashions.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can experience it in all different formats. And the movie, which I haven't watched yet, but I've been told by a coworker is very spooky. So.
Yeah, but most of the movies don't have Quincy.
That's a shame.
And it's so sad.
You need Quincy.
Yeah. So, all right, do you have anything else?
No, I think this was a lovely adventure and gave me a lot of context for experiencing Twilight again and binge watching The Vampire Diaries. Appreciated it.
Yeah. Vampires are fun.
They are. It's a fun adventure.
If you have any thoughts about vampire media or Dracula or have read Dracula or want to put anything on hold, feel free to contact the library. You can call us at 570-348-3000. You can leave comments on any of our social media posts regarding the podcast. You can leave comments on the YouTube video. You can find all of the rest of them at Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts. If you want to email me directly for future ideas, anything at all, feel free to do that. My email is aloney@albright.org. That is ALONEY @albright.org. I hope you have a good Halloween or had a good Halloween. I think this one might come out after Halloween. But enjoy the fall.